We are live. This is Katie Hutchinson with Greater Clark County Schools for a virtual Teaching Tuesday. I'm an e-learning coach. Did I already say that? And I am here with Cindy Harrison from NBCLearn.
Hi, I'm Cindy Harrison with NBCLearn, and I'm going to show you a little bit about NBCLearn and how you can use it in your classroom. I am a former educator. I was using NBCLearn in my own classroom, but now I'm going to let my colleague Brian Williams give you a little history about NBCLearn.
All right, so here is Brian.
Greetings to all the administrators, teachers, students, and parents across the Hoosier State on behalf of the Indiana Department of Education Office of E-Learning. I'm Brian.
He's so excited that he's stuttering, but that's okay.
And I don't see him.
You don't see him? No.
We can start over if you want.
No, we can't because we're live.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Oh, here we go. Now it screams Sarah Inception, and here is your friend, Brian Williams.
Greetings to all the administrators, teachers, students, and parents across the Hoosier State on behalf of the Indiana Department of Education Office of E-Learning. I'm Brian Williams, welcoming you to NBCLearn. We put these collections of events about history, science, math, personal finance, and more all together for teachers, students, and parents. We learn every day about all of it while covering the news every day for our jobs, and we are now delighted to be sharing them with you. Enjoy. We choose to go to the moon. NBC Network that made history with the first news broadcast. It is now bringing outstanding content to 21st century students. 21st century NBCLearn is resources and rich history books archive available to teachers online.
Our students demand lessons in interactive nature.
This is Isaac Asimov. He's like a typewriter. They're not into reading textbooks. They want to see, they want to feel. The key to recovery of endangered species habitat. We have a generation now that is used to multimedia. When I see my own kids on our YouTube, what they learn in the space of an hour, how they learn. I'm more and more convinced that this has to happen.
We now have the NBC News Archive, meaning that those are genuine clips and this information is accurate. It's going to make my curriculum a lot more dynamic, a lot more interesting and interactive. And I don't have to run around and scramble around to create this. It's being done at a place with enormous resources.
All of the stories come from this great building, this great network. That's all the raw materials. If you want to know where we're going, you have to know where we've been, and that applies to pretty much anything. These archives are a rich reservoir, they're a treasure. When you see these video clips, you can go in and say, here's what it was like.
We are the women that our parents warned us about, and we are proud.
Here's what people had to experience. We had taken one from Montgomery, and St. Remus, and Governor Dorsey ones. You see not just the moments, but you get the feel for what the mood of the country was at the time.
What a day it was. Really a tough one for investors down here on Wall Street as the notion set in that we are officially in recession.
What the issues were, what the struggles were. You're saying the disruption of the Berlin Wall. You see that, it makes it real for kids.
My presence here is one additional bit of evidence that the American dream need not forever be deferred.
And here it's right at the fingertip of teachers, and they can bring these lessons alive. Background and context are what we combine journalism with moving emotion. Tragedy. There's all these words and pictures. Locked up that would be
recognize this history as a learning opportunity to understand how we can work together, how this country has lived through so many months and bruises along the way, and continue to find a way to make it something better.
All right, so now that you're all pumped up with Brian Williams and Lester Holt talking about NBC Learn, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you how you can access all of these wonderful resources in Indiana. So the best way to do it is to go ahead and you can navigate to NBC Learn. Why is it not going to the right one?
I can see indiana.nbclearn.com.
Oh, I'm glad you can see it because it's not showing that on mine. So, all right. So do you see it now still?
Yeah, and I see your mouse moving.
Okay, perfect. So if you want to watch that Brian Williams video again, you can do in the upper right-hand corner. But what I'm going to do right now is go to the NBC Learn K-12 standalone page. As you can see right below that, you have the NBC Learn access to My Big Campus, and I will come back to that in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to access, and you will notice in the upper right-hand corner when it opens up, you will see Welcome Indiana Educators in the upper right-hand corner.
And so while that loads, I want to remind our viewers that you can, open up a different tab while you listen and kind of click back and forth and pause this video as you need to go back. And she is at indiana.nbclearn.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That is how I accessed it. I clicked it. Or if you are, because I am not at an Indiana school right now, but if you were on campus, if you were on an Indiana campus computer, you could actually navigate to archives.nbclearn.com, and it would also appear in the upper right-hand corner, Welcome Indiana Department of Education. At this particular point, you don't have to do any additional signing in to access all 17,000 plus resources. However, as a former teacher, I am encouraging you to go ahead and make your own account with a Register Now tab in the upper right-hand corner, because you will have increased functionality. I'm going to go ahead and sign in for the purposes of this to show you increased functionality that you will have by having your own account. You will be able to make your own playlist. You can have it up by unit, and so it makes it really nice to have your own account. So I strongly recommend you going ahead and spending the 2 to 3 minutes to register for your own account. However,
how would I do that, Cindy? How would I do that if I didn't have it?
In the previous screen, there was an additional tab that said Register Now. So you can go ahead and click on that if you so choose to do that. Like I said, but teachers, we wanted to keep the barriers low for students to be able to access this. This is how they can access NBC Learn if they're working on a project, doing homework, any type of things. Parents have access to this as well as parochial and private schools. So the DOE has purchased it for every student in the state of Indiana. And we really appreciate that as well, just to have access to this amazing resource. So what I'm going to do is just briefly go into current events. NBC Learn gathered all of their resources. As the video showed you just a minute ago, we have our archives, but we also have current events that we have updated every day, Monday through Friday, and you can see it's in a file type format along the left-hand side going back to 2008 when we started gathering resources for NBC Learn. You can see February, but I'm actually going to go, since it just started with February, I'm actually going to go back into January so you can see how we have, resources gathered, usually 2 to 3 per day, like I said, Monday through Friday, and we do vet it for the K-12 audience. However, that's a large range, so we do have it where if it's more for the high school, it does have a warning that will let you know. So if you're an elementary teacher using this, it does warn you if it's a little bit higher content, because we know that's a big spread between K-12. I'm going to go to this particular story here where it says, boy helps brother with cerebral palsy take on wrestling. And this is actually a follow-up story, and this was actually really popular when I was in Indiana last summer in June with this original story, how the older brother was carrying his younger brother in Michigan, from his little town of Michigan to the University of Michigan to raise awareness for cerebral palsy. And so this is a follow-up story that just occurred last month, and wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and actually choose another one, since this one doesn't want to load for us, that we can do. As you can see here, I can go through the various stories that we have. This is also a really nice story about how unfortunately their daughter was killed in the earthquake there 5 years ago, but they went ahead and opened up an orphanage there in Haiti. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this. But this is our media player, and this is where I want to just show you some additional features of the product so that you would use inside your own classroom. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, it actually turns the card over, so you have all of the metadata, including the clip length, and in this case it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds, which is very indicative to the majority of our resources, and that's what makes it so nice to bring in the classroom. And 2 minutes and 20 seconds is not that long, but when you're looking at multiple resources, it's really nice to have this description to see if it's something you want to use within your classroom. You can see all our keywords are hyperlinked, which makes it nice for students if they're researching on their own, or for you as a teacher looking for additional resources for this particular topic. And then back to the researching, we do have the citation generator where we have the MLA, APA, and Chicago Manual of Style, so students can just click copy and paste it into their bibliography. Also in the upper right-hand corner, we have a transcript drawer that opens up that has the full transcript. To be honest, this is how I used, when I was looking for resources in my own classroom, I used the transcript to see if it was covered the material that I wanted to cover. We can go full screen with it. It is independent from the screen. We can add closed captioning, which made it nice. To be honest, most of my students, I had about half mine were ESL, so it made it nice. But my own son has dyslexia, so it's really nice to have being able to read the words as well as listen to them at the same time. So drawing your attention to the bottom of our screen, we have, this is the first 2 tabs is what you have gained function by having your own account. So if you are following along and have stayed just where it says Indiana Department of Education, these first 2 tabs would be grayed out, but this is where it's nice that you are able to add your own playlist. So for instance, if I'm going to put, I'll just put an Indiana example right here, and so now I can save it to this particular playlist, and I'm going to click save. You have notes, which makes it really nice. You could add your notes. So when I was teaching U.S. history, I could add notes here and make sure I asked each of my class periods the same questions. But you can add notes here for yourself. So again, right here available for you. I'm going to go ahead and click save, and it turns green and it closes automatically. We also have built everything with NBCLearn to be collaborative in nature, so if you want to maybe add this, you want to add it maybe to an Edmodo account, you want to, or just copy this URL, put it in an email, send it to a colleague, send it to your student, or add it even to your website, you can do so right there. You also have,
when you go to share, does it share the notes you made as well, or are those notes?
That is a very good question. Right now, it does not. Those notes are private to you. However, we had a lot of requests for that, and they're actually working on making you being able to have a choice if you want to share your notes or if you want to keep them private. So that is actually in the works. So very good question. And that kind of goes along to it. NBCLearn wants to hear from the wants to hear from the end user, which is you. So, and I will show you just a little bit later where you can access to let us know what you want. This is, so very good question. We have it where you can print it. It would be able to go right to, it goes into a separate page here, a 2-dimensional version of the cue card. Made it nice for your students in their IEP that need a written copy of notes. They can do so. I would convert it to a PDF and email it to them. I could, or just print it directly from here whichever works best for your classroom. And then we also have it download. I'm not going to do it just for the sake of time, but our download media player is an absolute wonderful addition. So you can download it and actually play it directly from your computer, as opposed to being able to linking it to our page. You can download it, or if you're worried about internet access, you can do that as well. There was also a standards tab which you can use to see which standards and we have all of the Indiana standards aligned, ready to go. You can do that as well. But in the current events, if it's within 4 to 6 weeks new, it would not have the standards aligned to that yet. So that's why I did not click that one. But once we do send it out to a service. So anything older than about, like I said, 6 to 8 weeks old would have the appropriate standards. Speaking of standards, you can actually browse through it, but you can also look by state standard as well. So now, since I'm in Texas doing this webinar for you, I will actually go up to Indiana here and click on that. And you can choose your content area. Since I'm a former social studies teacher, I'm going to go to my grade level at what I taught. So, and all of the standards will come up, and there's a column along the right-hand side, and that will indicate if we have resources aligned to that particular standard. And as you can see, my computer seems to be a little bit delayed, but you can find resources in this way by state standard. And I won't let it keep going, since I'll actually minimize this and let it.
See if I can pull up the standards on mine and see if.
Yeah, if it goes a little bit quicker. So you can browse through our collections. You can look for it through the state standards, or you can actually look for it here in the search bar, finding resources. And our resources date back to the 20s and 30s with Universal movie reels, but we also have material that covers the material prior to. So like I said, I'm a former U.S. history teacher, so I'm going to go with Civil War, and you can see that there's 445 resources, but it's not necessarily for the U.S. Civil War. I'm actually going to date. You can go an advanced search by date, and I'm actually going to click on go to the decade of our Civil War and narrow down the resources in that way. 1870 here, and then go through here, and now it's going to bring up all of the resources that fit that criteria. So we've now narrowed it down to 98 different resources from 1860, but we can further filter by collection, either by collection, we can filter by source, or even type. And so I'm going to actually uncheck video, because most of our resources are video in nature, being that we are a television network. But now we have resources here. You can see printed resources. And as I was saying, we are collaborative in nature. You can copy this URL, any of your searches. You can search by, or even copy in collection, that you can copy this and actually have students stay within this particular search if you'd so choose to do so. We could do that. I'm going to go ahead and go back up to playlist here.
And I'm going to pause you for just a second, Cindy. I'm going to share my screen.
Oh, I can see if it came up on mine. Oh, it is up on mine as well.
Okay,
now.
Because we missed how the state standard went. And so when you click state standards, it actually pulls up a pop-up box. Maybe there it is.
And mine is, if you want to put it back on mine,
good. Hold on, I'll do that.
It's just being really particular today.
Isn't it? All right, there we go.
That's like planned. But as you can see here with the social studies for grade 11, it brings up the Indiana academic standards, and along the right-hand side of the page, and of course with social studies we're going to have it quite full, but we do have that. If you're a math teacher, science teacher, English teacher, the same thing applies to your particular grade level and your content area. And what's really nice then is if you go ahead then and click on this, any of these, all of the different resources will pop up. You can see this will have 2 different pages of this particular standard. So you're looking at migration of human population here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on these, and these are all hyperlinked, and will actually bring it up into that particular collection to see if it is a resource that you want to use. And I would recommend doing that, but it's really nice to be able to have that. Now, what I want to show you here is the same thing would apply as I was showing you on the cue card. If you were to click on the standards, it will show you in a different way. It's going to show you, now it's showing me New York. Yours would show you Indiana if you were logged into Indiana. So this is showing you if you were browsing through the collection, that if you were wanting to see what standards that particular video you have found is aligned to. And you can see that this is various grade levels. Although we found it in 11th grade social studies, it's going to show you where it all applies.
And Cindy, we're not getting those pop-out. We're getting the pop-out video, or the pop-out box of the video, but all the state standard things are not coming through on your screen share.
Oh, how odd! I'm seeing it.
I know you can see it, but we can't. I don't know if it's how we shared it or not. But just trust us. State standards, they're all there.
Yes, trust us, please. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Are you seeing the cue card?
Yes, I see the cue card. We see all that stuff. It's just weird because
it was that separate pop-up. How odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like you said, trust us. Please trust. All right. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go over to playlists. And so you can see that. You can see that I have multiple playlists right here. And you do have an unlimited use of how many ever playlists you want. And it's taking a while to load because I do have so many. What's really, while it's loading, I'm going to say what's very nice about the playlist feature is that it is collaborative. And I'm not going to go down to the very bottom and get the one from Indiana that I just started. I'm just going to click here on the 70s foreign policy. This is actually one of the ones I used as a teacher. But also at the top of the screen, you can copy this URL. And so, for instance, I actually use this particular one I put it on my website, and my students could access it and have all 13 of these resources to look and say, okay, for an actual assignment that I was using about 70s foreign policy. So you can do this. You can also copy this URL, send it to colleagues. You can do it that way. The other thing I like to point out is that once I send this particular link to you, if you copy this, it's a live link. So if I were to send this to you right now, you would have all 13 pieces. But what if tonight I went, oh, there's 2 more things I need to add to that? If you would go to that link again, it would reflect any change that I made to this list. So this makes it nice for teachers to put all your playlists up maybe by unit and have it on your website. And then as things come across, maybe there's anniversary pieces or some other ones that you want to add, you don't have to update your website. You would just add it to your playlist, and it would automatically update.
So if you had that link in a Symbaloo, or if kids had that link bookmarked, then that link would constantly change. And you said you had videos. What other kind of documents? What other kind of cards are there besides video cards? Oh,
I'm so glad you asked. Yes, we do have documents. We also have images. So, for instance, I like to point that out maybe in science. So if you're a science teacher, I like to show here like an astronomy and space. And so what you can do here is actually go ascending, and that way you would have any of, like if you're showing maybe a history of rockets, but if you go to the sort by and you want to sort by type, this is going to bring up all of the images. So these would be images that you can use. And like I was showing you in the search feature and our playlist feature, you can actually copy this URL, and then the students would stay within this particular section. I also know of, like, maybe with Symbaloo, if you want to keep it up that way, or if you want to put it on your website, if maybe you want to even narrow it down, you don't want astronomy and space, maybe you're just wanting the solar system, so you can go further into the solar system and just copy that, and again keep students within this particular collection of 161 resources instead of all of them.
And I was thinking of those standards that have kids comparing the different genres of the same theme, or
Yes.
comparing a chart to a document to a video, and you can have all of that there.
Yes, we do have that, and now, like I said, most of our resources are going to be video, but we do have, especially like in history, in our history collection, we have over 200 documents from the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History, so we have that. The other thing I do like to point out, so under like astronomy and space, what we could do is you could actually go into event date, and if you search by event date, you're going to grab, you see this colored photo, so this colored image, so you're going to have Sputnik from 1957 as well as any anniversary piece, and in this case from 1977, looking back. So again, you are able to show students change over time, so I know that is a popular standard as well. So if you search by event date as opposed to air published date, that's what makes that change. But we do keep it in the descending way. That way, each time you come back to the collection that you normally go to, you will see any new piece that we have added to that particular collection. One other thing I do like showing, and I mentioned earlier that we have, our archival material, we add current events, but we also have new original content. Now this would also be in the area in which it applies. So for instance, this chemistry now would also be in science under chemistry, but these are where we have gone out with the National Science Foundation, in this case with our chemistry of chocolate, or however you see it along the left-hand side, but we've also tied in with the U.S. Golf Association, the hockey, football, we just finished the Super Bowl here, but the Pythagorean theorem. So these new content pieces, our original content, actually they stay with that journalistic quality of the stories where it has a beginning, middle, and end, but it's also short, but it's focused on teaching these particular concepts. So that's where it's different. But like I said, these are also located in their appropriate content area. And that's the other thing, not just these, but like in current events, as the story unfolds, it's placed in current events. But if it has a historical area, so it would also be under social studies, but if it's talking about medicine, it also could be found in, health and science. So that's what makes these resources so nice to use for the students, because they see the big picture, the real-world connections of these particular pieces.
Fantastic.
All right, so I'm going to pop over real fast to, you can see how you can access it through My Big Campus as well, but I have already opened My Big Campus, luckily, so we don't have to wait on those videos to load. But what's really nice, you can create a bundle very, very quickly utilizing the NBCLearn resources. So if you make a title here, NBCLearn info, and then I'm going to click on Save It, and if I want to then add content to this particular Save It resource, I can add content. So I can go over to the right hand side of the page and scroll down to where it says NBCLearn video, and so now I can search for it. So I'm going to search for something about grammar. Since I've shown science, I've shown some history, let's show some English resources for the English teachers out there watching. All you do is click and drag the NBCLearn resource over into the content area. You're going to see the cue card, very similar to how I showed you in our site, and it's going to be coming up here. It has some of the same, it still has all of the metadata on the back of the cue card, all within My Big Campus. The transcript, however, comes up a little bit differently, but the main thing is you still have it available to use. So that's how you can add some resources very quickly into My Big Campus. The other thing is you can actually look up here and the search under My Big Campus, but the thing is, since this search is everything within My Big Campus, you do want to preface your search if you're looking something specifically for, and we'll just stay with the grammar thing. So I'm going to leave this page, And so now it's going to bring up different resources in this way that you can either save to your drive within My Big Campus or add it to a bundle. Either way, so you've added like I said, I'm adding it to a drive in this case, just so you can see it in this context as well. So we are very easy to use within the My Big Campus.
For those of you in Indiana schools that have My Big Campus learning management system and don't see the access to NBCLearn, if you want to contact me or contact Cindy, we can help you get that set up. A couple of our schools didn't have it at first, but under the administrative tab, it's very easy to add NBCLearn to your Indiana schools. My Big
Perfect.
Campus.
Yes. So that's NBCLearn in a nutshell. You can contact me at any time. I'm happy to help. I'm happy if you want to give me a topic. If you want me to send you a bundle with some topics, if you want me to send you a playlist, I'd be happy to share. That's the beauty of having this resource is it's so collaborative. And one other thing I did not come back to, and I said I was, is to contact us. So if you scroll down to the bottom of any page within NBCLearn, the first tab is Contact Us. Feel free to do so. You can reason for contacting us. Hopefully you won't have a technical issue, but in case you do, we do have our tech team that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they are to get back. They get to you within the hour, and normally it's within 10 or 15 minutes. So we know that if you're having a technical issue, you're not happy, so we want to make you as happy as possible. Or you can comment and suggestion, and this is how our site has evolved, is by listening to the educators that are using it. So we recommend you filling in. If you come up with an idea, we would love to hear from you. The other thing is requesting information. So if maybe you're looking for a resource and you go, gosh, you saw it. Maybe it was during the summer and you saw something on the Today Show and you're not seeing it here that would be perfect for your class. Our archivists would love to go back and look for it. Or if there's an event you remember happening, we'll be happy to look for that resource for you. So just let us know on the Contact Us page.
Fantastic, and NBCLearn will be joining us for the Summer of E-Learning across the state, and we're going to be here for Clark County Connected Conference in Southern Indiana, July 24th, if you would like to join us and learn more. And hopefully we'll see Cindy virtually or physically.
Yes.
And I turned the question thing on, but I don't know.
And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing on my end, so we'll come back to you.
Okay. Oh, all right. So now it's just going to show whoever's talking.
Oh.
See?
Okay.
That's how Google Live Hangouts work. Isn't that awesome?
I know, I love it.
All right. Do you have anything else, Cindy?
No, I don't. I think that covers it. I was trying to make it as quickly as possible, but please let me know if I can help any of your educators in any way. They can contact me, and I should have had a slide for my email, but it's Cindy, and I spell Cindy CYNDY.Harrison@NBCUNI.com.
And when this posts, I'll put her contact information in there as well. And this was just an overview. She's going to do some more for us to kind of go in depth and whatever it is that you want to learn. If you want to see this in action in the lesson, contact me, contact Cindy. We'll do that for you. And so this is just kind of a little preview into what NBCLearn has to offer.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for signing off, Cindy. I'll see you soon.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.